Heyo!
We
Welcome
are
back.
hot.
Yes, sir.
Welcome back to
Super hot.
Supportly with David and Russ.
What's up? We're doing Battle Brothers shits.
Yep, this is the third video we're looking at. What are we looking at this time, dude?
So we've done like the sort of overview. We're gonna do like the roster and the town screen. So
Nice.
here's a town. Here's Sonnenfist. Um, and it's got different buildings, and not every town is gonna have these buildings, right? Every town has a marketplace,
Right.
and every town has possibly men to hire. But like this town
Uh
also
huh.
has an armorer, which sells like really heavy armor and really expensive, and then a weaponsmith, which sells more advanced weapons. So like, you can see there's a great sword here, there's a great axe here, there's like a noble sword.
Let me check out some of those stats on those weapons.
Nah, it doesn't matter. Don't matter none.
I just want to see the descriptions, man. Shit looks good.
Fine.
Damage, ignore armor, effective against armor. Fuck, that's in depth.
Yeah, there's. Ooh, I need to buy this actually. Yoink.
So they have. I know this is probably way too specific for this video, but it looks like they have bludgeoning and slashing and
Yeah, we'll get into
piercing.
it's more complicated than that, which is awesome.
Wow.
We'll get into the like specifics of weapons in a second here. Um,
Okay.
this building is not unlocked yet, because see,
Uh huh.
later during early access. I'm not sure what it's gonna be for. They've talked about having it be like a place where you can leave a battle brother to train, or maybe reset skills, because there's no skill reset right now.
Uh.
So I don't know what this building's gonna be yet exactly.
Right.
But what's important to note is that oops, this town has more stuff than say like this little town will have, right?
Right.
If I go over there, I might find less people and I might find different kinds of people. So like if we look at what mercenaries they have, they've got bastards and sellswords and militiamen and deserters, because this is like a very military town, right?
Right.
If I go somewhere else, like if I go to a fishing village, it's a tiny fishing village, it might be like 3 fishermen and that's it.
Right.
And obviously, like this bastard who's had like training, because here's his little background you can see and everything, is probably gonna have he comes with 3 levels already for one. He costs a shit
Right.
ton of money, and he's probably gonna have higher stats than a fisherman, right? Like this grave robber who's only costing
Wait.
170.
I would like to point out he's a bastard and his last name is
Cuck
Cuckchild.
child, yeah.
That's good shit. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So hiring is a really like interesting process. You oftentimes have to like, if you want to find people who are good at range combat, you need to go find like the poacher towns and the towns with archers and shit in them. Um, and all of these backgrounds come with like this sellsword has better everything, right?
Right.
Whereas this guy he's a gravedigger, so he's brave and he's got higher max fatigue. Or here's a gambler, he's got a higher initiative, or you know.
So it actually matters. Like the townspeople the towns that you visit aren't only just gonna have different shops and things to see. They're gonna have different types of people
Yep.
to recruit. That's fucking cool.
Like so when I started this game, after I earned some initial money, I usually this is usually what I do. I did a fucking tour around trying to find people who are good at shooting, because archers are hard to actually come by.
Really.
Yeah. So here's the like main roster screen. You can look at your perks of your individual guy, and you can look at your stash, what you're carrying. So
Right.
these are my I got my various foodstuffs, some war dogs, some extra weapons and armor in case someone dies. I can replace.
Right.
Very useful.
Can you
Um,
name your war dogs?
you can't name the war dog. Although
Are they
this one is Bones,
nice?
that one's Fang, and that one's Battle Brother. And I actually found this one through an event.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I had to give him some food and stuff, but he joined me.
That's fucking awesome.
Trigger warning: if you really like dogs, maybe don't play this game. They die. They're disposable tools that you throw away in combat to save your humans. I feel so bad when it happens,
Well,
but
save
it
scum.
it's got to happen. So you've got your roster over here. This is the top row, and this is the back row. So in battle, they'll actually be in this formation,
Uh huh.
which was something they added recently, which is cool. And then you've got like extra spots that you can sit people out.
Okay.
I'm not using any right now. So the maximum you can take into the formation is 12, and the maximum you can have in your entire roster is 18. But you still got to pay the ones and feed the ones that aren't right in the formation. So
Right.
I sometimes have to be very careful because if someone gets wounded and needs like a week to heal, I basically try to avoid fights for a week, which
Right.
just the way I play. Maybe not the best way. So you got they all have an accessory slot, a head slot, an ammunition slot, weapon and shield or other offhand thing. There's no dual wielding, but like you can carry a spear and a net in your offhand if you want to, basically.
Right.
Armor, extra items. You'll notice where is he? You will not notice. All right, I fired his ass. That's right.
Ha.
You can get more bag slots with a perk.
Okay.
So like eventually I'll probably get bag slots for a lot of my men up here because you want them to carry like an offhand weapon, especially like an anti-armor weapon.
Right.
So every battle brother has a different background. So this guy is an adventurous noble. He was very expensive. This guy was just a brawler.
Nice. I like
But
to fight.
but he's also dexterous and strong, so he comes with more fatigue and more melee skill.
Right.
You know, this guy is a wild man who is bloodthirsty, and he's missing a finger now because he got his finger chopped off.
Ah, Rimworld.
They got a miner, another wild man. This guy is a companion, so he's one of the ones I started with,
Uh huh.
as well as this guy. What's this guy? A retired soldier. I got my hunter, caravan hand, and some of these perks are negative, right? He's fragile. He's
Right.
got less hit point.
Right.
Um, this is another one of my companions. So one of my complaints is that if I go over here, I can't see their traits or their stats at all. Like
Right.
I might hire Wilhelm Cookchild, and he might absolutely have like some of the shittiest stats and traits, and just be worthless. Because the other thing you have to look at is this guy's got 2 stars on his melee skill.
Uh huh.
This guy's got 3. So
Uh
whenever
huh.
this guy levels up, he gets more points to put into his melee skill than this guy does.
Ah.
Which is they changed it, which is really nice, but it's a way to make like because used to in the old game, what you would basically do is start firing people you hired at the beginning of the game, because
Right.
you would hire people who are cheap and shitty, and then you would eventually replace them with like nobles and sellswords and things like that.
Right.
But this system, like this is just a minor. However, he's got a 3 thing in melee skill, which means he might actually last me the whole game.
Right.
Because now they have this system where you can get more points. So you might find like the sort of prodigy fisherman, right? Who's really good at all the things you want him to be really good at, and can sort of
Right.
once he's max level, he'll be equal to the swords master or whatever. So that's cool.
Right.
Up top here, we see all of the different abilities they have, and all of these skills are based on gear. There are
Pause
some
over some of those so I can read them.
there are some perks that give you various skills, but most of the skills are going to be based on what gear you're carrying.
Right.
So for example, this guy's got a spear, this guy's got an axe. So obviously the axe guy can't do a shield wall, right? Or a spear
Right.
wall. Now I could give him a spear. That's why he's got a spear in his his backpack, just in case I need to do a
Right.
spear wall. Or if I took his shield away, he'd lose the ability to do a knockback and a shield wall. His first aid
Right.
skill comes from his bandage he's carrying, and blah blah blah.
Right. Right.
So this is where the items get really crazy because you sort of like this split shield skill is really useful but this guy can't do it, right?
Because he has a
Because
spear.
right, because I mean, we try to get him an axe eventually, but he doesn't have one currently.
Right.
So, and all of the things like this guy can do like an instant decapitate if he's the target is wounded. These guys with the two-handers have area of effect attacks
Uh huh.
that can do like status effects and things like that if they hit.
Right.
So yeah, picking and all of my archers carry pikes because pikes have 2 tile range instead of 1 tile range, right?
Right.
So if the melee becomes too in depth or whatever, they can just swap to that and use
Is
that
there
instead.
mounted combat?
No,
Okay.
and well, okay, goblins have mounts,
Okay.
but you don't, and they don't know if they're going to add it. They've said probably not, but it's a possibility because basically the mechanics are in the game because
Right.
the goblins use it. So we'll see. And then here's all the stats for each individual battle brother. We talked about the little star
Uh huh.
things. That means they get more per level up. So you got head armor and body armor.
Uh huh.
And I'm gonna try to explain the way this works, but I might get it wrong because this is one of the things they haven't fully like explained in a way that makes sense to me. So when I hit someone with this pike, it does 60 to 80 damage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Its damage is it does 30% of that damage immediately to the hit points of someone because the 30% of the damage ignores armor.
Okay.
And it does the rest fully against the armor.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
So
for
like.
example, he has a 64% and then a 233% effective against armor. So when he hits someone, he does 60 to 90 damage. 64% of that ignores the armor and it goes to hit points. And then the remaining 36% is then multiplied by 233% and affects
Right.
armor, right?
So that's like it's basically saying, hey, you just got hit by a big ass hammer. It fucking hurt you, and it wrecked your goddamn armor.
Yeah.
Right. That makes sense. I mean, logically, that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it is a very logical system. It's just it kind of like the ignores versus effective against is sort of like,
Right.
but it's really important because obviously like this spear actually has its maximum damage reduced, right? It's only 95% effective.
Right.
And you'll find like a stick is going to be like 20% effective against armor, right? So armor is both like extra hit points that absorb damage and you armor gets damaged, but it's also damage reduction because
Right.
so it's weird in that way. Hit points are hit points, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the higher your hit points, like there's a certain threshold, which I'm not sure what it is, to get an injury, which isn't just hit point damage. It's like a punctured lung, and it's how this guy lost a finger, right?
So it's kind of like Constitution and hit points, not just hit
Right.
points, basically.
So there's a certain threshold of like the maximum percentage, the percentage of your max hit points that have to be done in order for you to take an injury.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, you got action points. All of your men have 9 action points, and you can't increase that in any way.
Okay.
Um, and this is like where a lot of the strategy comes from because like a standard attack with a one-handed weapon takes 4 action points,
Right.
which means if you don't have to move, you get 2 attacks, right?
Right.
Whereas this guy's attack takes 6 action points to use with his two-hander. So even if he doesn't move, he only gets 1 attack.
Right.
Um,
And we can go into that. I think maybe the next one will do a fight or something.
cool.
What's a little? What's a little? Okay, that was the action points. What's the one after the action points?
Yeah, I'll finish these really quick, and then we'll move on and try to find a fight or something.
Awesome.
So fatigue is fatigue. It is like one of the most important things because doing everything builds fatigue, including just moving. Like this swinging this hammer cost him 12 fatigue, right?
Right.
Every turn you reduce it by 15, but you often are doing more per turn than that, and like this armor reduces his fatigue by 14, right? This hammer
Right.
reduces it by 18. So the heavier the shit you wear, the less fatigue you have. So It becomes a real balancing
That
act
makes
of like
sense.
how much heavy armor do I want on this guy, and blah blah blah.
So that's why you want to put your archers like in light armor and your front linemen.
Yeah, this is about as heavy as they're gonna get, right? Is chainmail
Right.
for me. Um,
What's steady?
Steady is his morale. It can change in combat. Um, Steady is basically just the default state.
Right.
Unless like sometimes you can have a superstitious guy and he gets scared out of combat, and so like he'll start combat with less morale.
Oh, okay.
Resolve is like the percentage chance every time there's a resolve check, which is like panic, people dying, hit point damage. So like basically every time someone dies near this guy, he's got a 50% chance of dropping a morale state.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Initiative is initiative, right? And you go first. It's lowered also by the same penalty of fatigue. So this -12 fatigue, -12 initiative.
Oh, okay.
Melee skill, and again, this is like a percentile system. So this is a base 58%, a base 67 with his range skill, right?
Right.
Same with defense. He has a base -2 for the percent for them to hit him, and a base -7.
Uh huh.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is how it works. His base damage with whatever weapon he has equipped, so he's going to do 50 to 70. He's going to be that much effective against armor. He's got a 25% chance to hit the head, which
Uh huh.
headshots do, like headshots are crits basically.
Right.
But the interesting thing is that head armor is separate from uh, body armor.
Uh huh.
So if he wasn't wearing a hat, then like a single headshot might just drop him, right?
Right.
And then vision, which is not only vision, it's also range. Your maximum range with a bow. So this says range of 7 tiles, right?
Right.
Because the default vision for a battle brother is 7. But this archer has a talent that raises his default vision to 8, so this bow's range is actually 8. It's weird, but it's basically 8 tiles. He can see 8 tiles. He
Okay.
reveals 8 tiles of fog of war. He can shoot his bow 8 tiles because he's got this perk. So this is the pro tip. This perk says maximum fire range with bows, but what it actually does is increase your vision. And what I've discovered is like if someone has bad vision, then their bow range is actually less. So vision and bow range are basically the same thing, is what I'm saying. If
Awesome.
that makes sense. So yeah.
The I want to come back to explore the perks.
Perks are cool. We'll talk a lot about them. We'll be back. Maybe spend 10 minutes on perks, and then I'll find us a battle.
Awesome. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
All right. See you next time.
Peace.